Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412. Hope you're all having a fantastic week as we head into a nice 10-game slate on Tuesday night. Before we dive in, if you want to come join us in our Discord channel where we provide cores, answer any questions that you guys might have about the slate, you can use the code POWERPLAY, coupon code POWERPLAY, to get a free day of access there. You can go to our website at FSiDFS.com, go to the subscriptions page, and we'll have daily, weekly, monthly packages. You'll just hit that daily package, type in the coupon code, and yeah, I'll link you to the Discord and you'll be good to go. So let's dive right on in. Carolina, Philadelphia, the two biggest favorites, but a couple of decent favorites on the board. All the over-unders pretty even throughout. Going down to the projected goalkeepers, and again, these are just the projected goalkeepers. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see it a little bit better. Again, these are just projected. I think Ingram at the time of the video is the only confirmed guy, but there's websites like Daily Faceoff, like Left Wing Lock. They'll have all that confirmed goalie stuff, and DK really does do a good job at making sure that the projected goalkeeper is, like highlighted green, so But yeah, so Quick and Varlamov, I do have both of these guys highlighted green. They essentially broke the chart. There's limited data on them, and they have both looked amazing. So amazing, breaks the chart in a good way. The opposite of Urson, who has kind of broke the chart in a bad way. It was just that their save percentages were so high or so low. It's just like everything else did not really pop in terms of color at all. But yeah, so your average NHL goaltender, if you are new to NHL DFS or NHL in general, is around 905 to 910. That's your average save percentage for a goalkeeper. So you guys like Allen, Binnington, Ingram, Dostal, they've had fantastic starts to this season. So let's dive into some line stacks here. I got to zoom back out so we can see all of them. Now, Philadelphia, they're going to be popular all around. They're facing off against San Jose. If you don't know yet, San Jose has allowed 10 goals in each of their past two games. They're losing on average by 4 goals per game. They've only scored 1 goal per game. It's just all around bad. Like, this is one of the worst starts that we have seen for an NHL team in over 30 years. Like, it has been really, really bad. So Philadelphia is going to see a lot of popular ownership, especially because their price tags are really reduced across the board for their roster. And it's mainly because they just have so much, I don't want to say depth, because they don't have depth scoring like Carolina does, but they don't have that one true top line where you get that Philadelphia goal notification, you kind of know where the goal is going to be coming from. That's not the case for Philadelphia. It could be coming from that top line, second line, third line. You just really don't know, and that's why the salaries really have been reduced. But I am going to be going with this top line of Atkinson, Couturier, and I did put the top defender there, Sanheim, as the stack that I would like. Couturier is day-to-day, so pay attention to that. But yeah, they all get full correlation. They're all going to be skating together at even strength, but as well as on that top power play unit. But really, if you want to get off of Couturier and go with a guy like Lawton, if Couturier is out, it's probably going to be Scott Lawton as that top line center. But there's a bunch of other Philadelphia guys that I'm going to have a whole lot of interest and intrigue in. Travis Konechny, 6.8. Owen Tippett, he has had a phenomenal shot floor. It hasn't been the case in the past 2 games, but he shoots the puck quite a bit. Guys like Farabee, he's going to be in play. And really, a lot of those anybody in the top 3, Forster for top 3 lines for Philadelphia, I'm going to have some interest in just because they're all just so affordable and the matchup is so good. Going into the second line here, Drouin, McKinnon, and Rantanen. McKinnon and Rantanen, these are the guys that are really leading the charge. They're a fantastic point pair, meaning that when one of these guys scores a goal, there's a very, very good chance that there's going to be an assist from the other guy on it. Now, I will say, Drouin, he has a floor of nothing. He's not going to see nearly the same amount of minutes as these other 2 guys are. They're going to double shift McKinnon and Rantanen, especially if they're losing late in the game, they're going to double shift them quite a bit, and Drouin's going to see the bench. But still, the opportunity is there to be skating with McKinnon and Rantanen, and really the opportunity alone should be worth more than a 2.8 salary price tag. He doesn't get any power play time. But yeah, so beware Drouin. The price tag is very nice, but his floor is very, very low. Now they are facing off against New Jersey, a team that is like a cup contender so far this season. So I don't think a lot of people are going to be targeting this game too much, especially with these high salaries. But New Jersey, they are going to be without Jack Hughes, their top line center. They're going to be without Nico Hischier, their second line center. So now they're going to have their third line center, who's normally on the third line, obviously, trying to defend Nathan MacKinnon. It's going to be guys like Mercer and Haula trying to defend MacKinnon and Rantanen. I just don't see it going very well. So I do have quite a bit of interest in Colorado. Also just because New Jersey defensively has not been the same this season. I think they only have 2 games so far where they've held their opponent under 3 goals so far. So Colorado, I think they could fly a little bit under the radar, but are still in a very solid spot. And speaking of under the radar, I think the Islanders could also be very under the radar here. And it's a lot because they have similar price salaries. Man, I'm jumbling up my words here. They're all priced very similarly to Philadelphia. And they're kind of the same thing in that, like, it's not so much like, oh, you get that goal notification from this game. It's the Islanders who scored. It's not so much like, oh, it's going to be that top line. They have scoring all throughout. But if Horvat is good to go, I really like Barzal, Horvat, and Dobson, who is a defender. But they all skate on that top power play unit. They're all going to be skating at even strength together as well. They're facing off against Minnesota. Minnesota, historically, over the past couple seasons, has been a team that they just shut things down defensively. You don't really want to target against them. They have solid goalkeeping. That has not been the case so far this season. Fleury and Gustafsson have really struggled in net for Minnesota. They've struggled defensively in terms of allowing high danger chances. And you can see in the notes here, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of small, but Minnesota is actually allowing the second most goals per game so far this season, and the 6th most shots on goal against so far this season. So I think the Islanders, again, are going to see very minimal ownership just because they're going to be going to, if you're in this price range, Barzal or Atkinson. Everybody's going to be going Atkinson. So I think that Barzal could be a nice pivot. Horvat, all those are Brock Nelson for the Islanders. I do like a lot of those guys there. Heading over to the individual plays, and these are not all the individual plays that I'm interested in. There's many more, but yeah, come join our Discord. We'd love to have you. Ask me any questions if you got 50, this guy, player A or player B. I'd love to answer them, and also just talk to you about them and teach you and explain as to why I like one guy over another. But Malkin, 7.5K for Pittsburgh here. He's been doing very well so far this season, especially on the road where he has excelled. And he's facing off against Anaheim, a team that they've already played so far this season, and he was able to score a goal, generate an assist. So 7.5K, I think he's very good. He got you a nice shot floor as well. You could pair Malkin with a guy like Riley Smith here, 5.4. Riley Smith and Malkin skate together at even strength on the second line, but they also skate on the top power play unit for Pittsburgh. So they're going to be skating with guys like Crosby and Glentel on that top line, on that top power play unit, getting exposure to them. Sebastian Aho, 6.6K at home, top line center going up against Buffalo. Could be Luukkonen in net for Buffalo. And honestly, the Buffalo defense has been a little bit shaky so far this season, which has kind of been the case for them for the past decade. But still, Carolina, I think that they're going to be in good play. And again, Carolina is another team that's reduced in salary because, I mentioned them earlier in this video, I think. They're just so spread out in terms of their depth scoring, but they're still a top line. It's obviously they're going to be scoring the most. So Sebastian Aho is 6.6K. You could pair him with a guy like Seth Jarvis at 5.8. Jarvis is going to be the right wing to Aho. They both skate on that top power play unit as well. So you're going to get that correlation. And if you want to go and correlate some defenders with them as well, you go with Brett Burns, or you could go to a guy like Tony DeAngelo, who actually is going to get the top power play time for DeAngelo. I wouldn't look too much in terms of power play units with Carolina here, just because Buffalo's penalty kill has been one of the best in the entire league. I think they rank 6th in the entire league, so it's been pretty strong throughout the course of the year. Lindholm, 6.2K. It's more so the run and gun style of Nashville that I like Lindholm here. I'd much rather just go up to Aho at 6.6K. And honestly, I'd much rather just go down to McTavish at 5.8 at home against Pittsburgh with a nice shot floor. But if you are trying to get a little bit different, maybe Calgary could be a way to go in that direction. Nick Suzuki at home against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the only team on this slate that is playing a back-to-back. They're going to be on a back-to-back with travel. Not too far, though. They played in Toronto last night. They're going to be in Toronto tonight. Very close for professional sports teams to be traveling. Suzuki gives you that shot floor, goal upside, top line center, top power play unit. Very affordable. Speaking of top line centers, Robert Thomas, 4.4K for St. Louis, facing off against Winnipeg. Winnipeg has honestly struggled in net, especially Hellebuyck. 890 save percentage for Hellebuyck is not the norm for him. Normally, he's more up to that 920 range. He is an above average goaltender. But still, anytime you're getting a top line center who skates on the top power play unit at home, below 5K, you got to have some interest, and it gives you a little bit of a shot floor as well. Paul for Tampa Bay, he is going to be skating, he now is skating on that second line with Steven Stamkos, so getting the pair of those two together, and they share power play unit time as well, which is even better. Love the Tampa Bay power play unit. You can see down here, they actually rank third so far in the league, running at a 30.6% clip. And they got a great matchup going up against a weaker Montreal penalty kill. So it wouldn't shock me if Tampa Bay is able to net 1 or 2 on the power play here tonight. And then this one's just a little bit of a gut homer pick. But Middlestat, I'm a big Sabres fan. I watch all their games. So Middlestat, he's looked really, really good this season. 3.5K, I think it's just a little bit too cheap for him. Is it a tough matchup? Absolutely. Am I going to have him in like my first 5 to 10 lineups? No. I'll be honest, but if you are making those, 20 lineups or whatever, I think that Middlestat could be really intriguing, especially if you are going with a Buffalo stack, getting guys like JJ Peterka. He's another guy who has been phenomenal to start the season. So Jeff Skinner, Casey Middlestat, JJ Peterka, line stack. Sure, there's another one there. Looking towards the wingers, Jake Gensel, sorry, got corrected on that the other week, but Gensel, 7.7K. He skates alongside Sidney Crosby on that top line for Pittsburgh, but he does get that top power play unit time as well, so he is going to get some correlation with Malkin and Smith if you do want to go that route. Kyle Connor for Winnipeg, I just love this guy's shot floor. He's been a DFS favorite of mine for probably like 5-6 years at this point in time. He just, shoots the puck, gives you a nice floor, and has a nice upside to go along with it. And St. Louis defensively just doesn't scare me, and really honestly shouldn't scare you too much. Travis Konechny, already talked about Philadelphia guys, talked about Stamkos pairing him with Paul, and Jarvis pairing him with Aho, and Smith pairing him with Malkin, and Tippett on Philadelphia, and Farabee on Philadelphia. Apparently, I talked about a lot of these guys already. We'll go to the two Seattle guys here, Schwartz and Bjorkstrand, both of them skating on that top power play unit. Bjorkstrand's going to give you a nice little cheap affordability to some floor. Schwartz, kind of the same deal. And you can look down here towards the nodal special teams. Seattle, they're running at a top 10 power play unit, and they're going to be going up against a bottom 5 penalty kill unit in Arizona. So some small floor with some bigger upside and goal upside opportunity for those two guys there. In defense, Cale Makar, 7.5. You're going to be pairing him with guys like McKinnon and Rantanen. I don't think you're going to be able to get all three of those guys in the same lineup. If you do, the rest of your lineup is going to look really rough. But even if you just want to go like a McKinnon and Makar, I could understand that. Matheson for Montreal, you could be pairing him with a guy like Nick Suzuki here at 5.5. Again, Tampa Bay, they're going to be on the back end of a back-to-back, and I know, it's not too much of a travel, but still, tired legs happen, especially once they get later on in the game. In the third period, Tampa Bay's legs could slow down quite a little bit, and they're an aging team as well. So it could be coming into play for them. Anderson, this guy's just been like a floor darling, essentially. 5.9. Even if you want to do a one-off for him, I could understand that, but you always want the correlation in terms of NHL. So pairing him with a guy like Lindholm, you could go with that. Durzi for Arizona, top 10 power play going up against a weaker penalty kill. You're really looking, he's going to be quarterbacking that top power play unit. So think of it like a point guard in the NBA. He's going to be dishing the puck from the point. Burns and D'Angelo, talked about them, pairing them with Carolina and Aho and Jarvis. Sergachev, Tampa Bay. Caden Gooley, 4.4K. This guy is he's been a shot blocking machine, which is awesome. Obviously, you want a little bit more goal and assist upside, especially when you get to that 4.4K salary price tag. But I mean, he's been paying off his salary a handful of times throughout the season. He's going to be facing off against Tampa Bay, who like to shoot the puck quite a bit. And Montreal, they just bleed shots against. You can see that they actually rank 29th in the league, meaning they allow the fourth most shots on net per game. And then Dunn, 4.1K. He's been producing very well. He's going to be skating on that top power play unit in a nice, favorable special teams matchup. Everybody else, cheaper than that, you're probably just looking for a shot block bonus. So yeah, so that's pretty much the slate in a nutshell. If you want to talk a little bit more about it, again, use code POWERPLAY. Come join us in the NHL Discord. We'd love to have you there. Talk a little bit more about it. Our quick notes: San Jose, Nashville, Minnesota, 3 worst penalty kills in the entire league by a very wide margin. But their opponents all also have bottom 10 power play units, so it just kind of like washes each other out. And then full lines that also do correlate on the power play: Arizona, both their top 2 lines; Detroit, Winnipeg, Minnesota, St. Louis, and both their St. Louis top 2 lines. So yeah, so thanks for watching. As always, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Drop a comment below. Good luck in your contests, and we'll see you tomorrow.